Welcome to Sophia Saylor's School on how to synthetically divide. So today we're going to be learning the basic steps for how to synthetically divide. So you will be given a question that asks you to find the answer for a given equation divided by a given factor. And that given factor should always be a polynomial with a degree of 1, meaning that x should be by itself without any exponents. And so we start our equation with getting the exact number for that factor. So we set it equal to 0. So x minus 1 equals 0. You add 1 to both sides so that x equals positive 1. So now you take that positive 1, put it into a little half box, and we are going to write the rest of our dividing method. So now you look to the top of the fraction that you're given, and that is your given equation. So we start out with 1x to the 5th, so we will put a 1 here because that is the coefficient that we are given. And so now you can see that we do not have any x to the 4th, x to the 3rd, so on and so forth before our constant. So because we do not have any of those numbers, we are going to put zeros there. So this will be x to the 4th, x to the 3rd, x squared, x to the 1st, and negative 1. And now, because we do those numbers, we're going to draw a line here and make sure you leave enough space to write some more numbers there and underneath. So now, we're going to carry down this 1 for underneath the line. And so when you have the 1 underneath the line, you're going to multiply that by the factor in the half box. And so that is 1. And so now you're going to add 0 and 1 to get 1. And then multiply 1 by 1 to get 1. Add 0 and 1 to get 1. Multiply by 1 to get 1. Add 0, which is 1. And then multiply 1 and 1 again. And add 0 and 1 one last time. So now we are coming upon our negative 1. So we are going to multiply 1 by 1 to get 1. And add negative 1 and 1, which is 0. So now we're going to section off that 0, and the 0 is our remainder. And so whenever you get a remainder after doing these steps to get your equation, your new simplified equation, you will know that x minus 1 is a factor for your given equation. So now, because you know that, we're going to set up our simplified equation. And so we're going to start off. The 1 is going to be the coefficient for x to the 4th. So you will know the given values of your next equation because your first degree is going to be 1 less than the equation you start out with. So we started out with x to the 5th, and so now we have x to the 4th. So then we're going to add a positive x to the 3rd, then a positive x squared, and a positive x, until we get to our constant of positive 1. And because our remainder is 0, you do not do anything with that 0, and so this is your final simplified equation for x to the 5th minus 1 over x minus 1. So now, we are going to move on to our next equation example. So that is going to be 5x to the 4th minus 3x squared minus 9 over x minus 1. And so we do the same thing as the first problem, set our factor equal to 0 and get x by itself by adding 1 to both sides. So x equals 1. So we put 1 into our little half box to continue on with our next steps. So our coefficient for x to the 4th is 5. We are not given any coefficients for x to the 3rd because x to the 3rd is not in our given equation at all. So we're going to put that 0 right next to the 5. And then for x squared, we have negative 3. And so we don't have any x to the 1st degree. So we put another 0. And then we reach our constant of negative 9. So you're going to draw that line underneath. And so now, the first time we carried down a 1, because that was the first number of the coefficients that we were given. So now the first number is 5. So we're going to bring down that 5 underneath the line. So multiply 5 by 1 to get 5. Then add 0 and 5 to get 5. Multiply 5 by 1 as well to get 5. So now you're adding negative 3 and 5 to get positive 2. And multiply 2 by positive 1 to get 2. Add 0 and 2 to get 2. Multiply 2 and 1 again. You get positive 2. And now you're going to add it to negative 9. And negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7. And so, negative 7 is going to be our remainder for this equation. And so, the given equation that we started out with was 5x to the 4th. And so, with our simplified equation, we are going to start out with 5x to the 3rd because it's going to be 1 degree less each time. So we have 5x to the 3rd plus 5x squared plus 2x plus 2, which is our constant. And now, because we have a negative 7 as our remainder, we're going to subtract, and we're going to put that remainder of 7 above our given factor. And once again, because we have a remainder, x minus 1 is not a factor for this equation. And so, once we write our remainder over our given factor, that is our simplified equation for 5x to the 4th minus 3x squared minus 9. So now, we're going to move on to our final example. We are going to have 7x to the 3rd minus 5x squared plus 4x plus 2 over 3x plus 1. And so, we have a new coefficient in front of our degree 1 polynomial because we still do not have any exponents in that bottom denominator. So, we set 3x plus 1 equal to 0. Subtract 1 from both sides to get 3x equals negative 1. And now to get x by itself, you will divide by 3, so that x equals negative 1 over 3. So this is your exact factor that we are going to put in our half box over here. So now we're going to set up the rest of this method. The third, we have 7. So x squared, we have negative 5. With x, we have 4. And our constant is 2. And so we're going to draw that line and leaving enough space to put numbers above both. We are going to bring down that 7 to underneath the line. And now we're going to multiply it by negative 1/3. So that is going to be negative 7 over 3. So we just multiplied 7 by negative 1/3, which is negative 7 over thirds. So now we add negative 5 plus negative 7 over 3 to get us negative 22 over 3. And so multiply negative 22 over 3 times negative 1 over 3 to get 22 over 9. So now we're going to add 4 and 29 ninths to get 58 over 9. So with that 58 over 9, we're going to multiply by negative 1/3 to get negative 58 over 27. And so lastly, you're going to add negative 58 over 27 plus 2 to get negative 4 over 27. So that is your remainder. And so now we're going to set up our new equation. And because we started out with x to the 3rd, we know that 7 is going to be x squared. So we're going to have 7x squared minus 22 thirds x plus 58 over 9. And then with our remainder of negative 4/27, we are going to subtract 4 over 27 over our given factor of 3x plus 1. And so that is your final simplified equation for this given equation.